Hello there friends, this is Dota News. We are here to create the best Dota News channel ever. Here's what we cover in today's episode. Malran and TORONTOTOKYO conflict, the astonishing success of Falcons, SUMAIL got scammed for $1 million, Team Spirit's failure at Dream League, and much more. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. Let's start with Reshuffles. Following a series of disappointing performances, Quest Esports has finally started making roster changes. After Amar's departure, the team struggled to find its rhythm. This time, the team said goodbye to their Position 5 support, Kaori, and brought in Ducales as a replacement. The reasons behind these reshuffles are unclear, though one could speculate that it's related to their recent results. However, we'll only know the whole truth when the org or the players themselves provide further comments. So, since we're talking about ATF, how can we not mention the trash talk from TORONTOTOKYO? In a game lobby, he was dishing out all sorts of wild comments aimed at Amar, and Malran, stepping up like a true gentleman, decided to intervene, saying that BetBoom's Position 5 player is totally out of line if he's dropping comments like that in the chat. Like, that was too much. But TORONTOTOKYO himself decided to share his thoughts on the matter, quoting him, "Just having a bit of fun with my bro before the game, silly people seeing negativity in it." And basically that's it, and that's the truth, guys, because if you've been following Team Spirit for a while, you know that he has always caught attention with his quirky jokes, both in real life and in-game. He just likes to do it sometimes. For example, his messages during the 10th International. And yeah, ATF just didn't sit back, he calmed everyone down, explaining that there were no hard feelings and just a couple of tips in the actual game were enough for punishment. And as for the showdown itself, we'll be catching that in the match analysis. And a little pause here, guys, because I need to tell you one really important thing. If you really like the content we're doing here at Dota News and want to support us, here's our Patreon. Feel free to support us, and every coin matters. But anyways, guys, even if you don't go to Patreon to fund us, we still love all of you for your likes, comments, and views. You are motivating us to do more. You can find the link to Patreon in the description below. Thanks again, and let's get back to news. Amidst the astonishing achievements and successes of Team Falcons, several pro players have commented on their gameplay. For example, Yatoro notes that on their signature heroes, Falcons are considerably stronger than any other team. And the number of their strongest heroes is so vast that it's impossible to ban them all out, leaving opponents baffled on how to counter such a strategy. Of course, TORONTOTOKYO from BetBoom didn't hold back his thoughts either. In his view, Falcons is currently the only team that truly plays Dota the way it's meant to be played, and the gap between them and the rest is just too wide at the moment. And the players of Falcons themselves, however, are much more modest about their success. Skitter just playfully teased the community by posting on his socials that they've won enough and it might be the time for a new patch to be released. And guys, you know what? This tweet, on one hand, everyone is so eager for a new patch that even the players are getting wary. On the other hand, it just could be a self-deprecating joke. Like reminding everyone of how Tundra, after their victory at TI-11, struggled due to a new patch. And Malran, the mid laner, he's just too shy. He believes that there's still a long way to go and too much to strive for to reach perfection. Like, maintaining seriousness, discipline, and of course the level of play throughout one's career is crucial. There are so many areas to improve upon, and claiming the title of the best mid laner is still a distant goal. Wow, what a self-critical approach from a player who just won 2 huge tournaments back to back. Nice job, Malran. And to some pretty important news about the tournament schedule. PGL announced that they're gonna hold a huge tournament in Wallachia, a city in Romania. This event will have a prize pool of $1 million. You can see the invited teams on your screens. This tournament is particularly interesting because after the cancellation of all DPC leagues, teams had to accumulate EPT points, which are earned over the year based on team performances. And by some fantastic luck, Team Spirit managed to squeeze in. If they had not made it to the playoffs of the Dream League, they would have had to endure the grind of random qualifiers without any rest. But now, all the teams we've been eagerly anticipating have made it through, promising an exceptionally exciting tournament made by PGL. And by the way, speaking of team spirit, their players also have shared some thoughts on the current form of the team. Miposhka, for example, believes that their results are pretty satisfactory. He says that they picked up momentum during the tournament itself without much specific preparations. However, Laurel tells a different story. According to him, there's been some poor communication within the team. The coordination is off, with every player having their own opinion on every matter, and that sounds scary, to be honest. And yeah, that was pretty evident in their match against Gladiators, where Yataro's decision to wave at the barracks potentially threw the game. And the voice chat, it was nearly impossible to focus. And basically this, Laurel suggests, is one of the reasons behind the team's struggles. But Yataro himself was more reserved, simply stating that there are indeed problems, but they are being addressed, whatever that means. However, friends, from my perspective, it's pretty normal for an esports team to experience downturns. It's just physically impossible to maintain peak form at all time. Just look at the Gladiators, who were dominating tournaments a year ago, and every single team was afraid of them, and now they're just barely making it into the top 5 of all Dota teams. Spirit too started slow last year, but managed to hit their peak form in the time for the most important tournaments. So my guys, I think it's worth watching their upcoming games to see whether they are evolving or gradually fading away. And now, my friends, let's dive into one of the most heated discussion topics of recent times. As some of you may know, 2 years ago, Sumail took his forward team EG to court. Basically, during the proceedings, lengthy and scandalous, Sumail stated that EG just didn't pay him money, that they were allegedly owing him under his contract. For those unaware, Sumail held a significant share in the company itself. According to the contract, after leaving, Hassan was to receive a payout of $1 million. The first $300,000 were paid up front, with the remaining amount scheduled over 3 payments within a year. As you might guess, he didn't receive these subsequent payments. Sumail's lawyers argue that EG's management took advantage of youthful naivety and trust at the time. Furthermore, they claim that the contract terms were excessively harsh towards the player and vague regarding the conditions. In essence, his former team's management skillfully navigated his contract exit to avoid any payouts. On the flip side, EG maintains that Hassan was always provided with the cleanest and most flexible contracts, with the option to consult an independent lawyer if any doubts arose. But my guys, I remind you, Sumail was like 16, 17 years old? Anyways, the situation is incredibly murky and complex. I mean, it's entirely possible that the player made a mistake and signed bad contracts, so to say. However, it also raises the question, what's stopping an org from deceiving such a young and naive Dota scene superstar? Honestly, I tend to believe that EG made some dirty moves there because, you know, it's EG, just look at them now, they're in shambles. Precisely because of their bad management. So guys, whose side are we on? Write your thoughts in the comments below, let's discuss. And now guys, it's time to move to some match analysis, as there have been plenty of surprises. First up on our agenda are Team Spirit, who will be facing off against Xtreme Gaming in a high-stakes battle to avoid elimination from the tournament. On the first map, Xtreme Gaming set the tone with their determination to win. They dominated every lane, aggressively secured objectives, and it seemed like the Dragons were not up for the challenge. Xtreme Gaming's mid player caught Yataro off guard, a surprising feat considering Yataro is a 2-time international winner playing Morphling who can escape pretty everything. It appeared Zeus couldn't care less about the reputation, outplaying Yataro during a crucial attribute shift. Spirit struggled to take control of any fight, finding it incredibly difficult to even get a kill of any of the Chinese team's cores. So basically, while XG occasionally lost a support, Spirit in turn consistently found themselves being wiped. Yataro honestly tried to carry the game, but in the current meta, pulling off a 1v9 is nearly impossible. After a series of lost fights, the Dragons finally conceded and called GG's. The second map started disastrously for Team Spirit. Yataro died solo to the enemy's post 3, and the situation in the bottom lane was chaotic. The Dragons seem to have lost the championship vigor that they have displayed at the International. Despite their poor performance, they managed to do a micro comeback. Laurel, the mid player for Team Spirit, single-handedly turned the tide, securing kills and proving he wasn't to blame for earlier setbacks. Riding on this comeback momentum, Spirit completely flipped the game on its head.
He's so close to 25-2 on this AEM. He'll get it if one hero dies.
This is not a hill you want to go up versus Leshrac Shard right now.
Yeah, they're both taking the same, kind of the same amount of damage here. XM, did he cancel the onslaught or did the purge screw him somehow?
I think he can't. I have to
cancel it. Yeah. Oh, got him on the edge. Toro found his target.
Black
they get the black hole, pulling
him
in inside of the chronosphere. What a disaster! Is that going to be okay though? They get the wall vacuum, and it's all clean for Team Spirit from here. XXS did his best what he could do, but it doesn't change. The AEM has no room to play.
The final fight at Roshan spelled the end for the Chinese team, with Spirit leaving no chance for a comeback. However, it's fair to say that the outcome might have been different if Ame hadn't made such a critical mistake, which essentially handed Spirit the comeback opportunity. And on the third map, it seemed that the Xtreme Gaming's carry had received a slap from their captain, dramatically improving his gameplay. Working closely with the sniper, he expertly took down Team Spirit's heroes.
They're gonna bait Ame on the front line.
Smoke breaks, XXS. I think he was spotted by the plasma field. He got clipped, couldn't blink in. There's the Inkswell, Infest, that's both going to be what an Earth Splitter, that was a monster hit. And the clap afterwards.
Two-man sleep.
This is the scary part about Xtreme. Anyone can step up in a fight.
Yatro and his team made efforts with smart smoke plays and baits, but the match was overwhelmingly in favor of the Chinese team. Xtreme Gaming easily won the third map, securing a top 3 spot in the tournament, while Team Spirit bye-bye, finishing in the 4th place. Now let's take a closer look at BetBoom's route to the grand finale. In the upper bracket, they faced off against the Falcons, who, as everyone expected, effortlessly took down BB. Yeah, GPK and Nightfall really tried to carry their team, even managing to sneak one map. However, on the second map, we see Signature Mars and Pango, and they dominated the game completely. And the third map, some unconventional, extraordinary drafts. Viper position 3 mid lane Batrider and Crit's signature Tiny. We haven't seen these for a while. Basically, Falcons just pulled out all the lethal signature heroes and steamrolled over the unfortunate souls from BetBoom. And next, surprisingly, BB Team just demolished Xtreme Gaming. Miero's signature Beastmaster turned out to be the game changer, and BetBoom managed to steamroll Ame in just 40 minutes over 2 maps, securing themselves a top 2 finish in the tournament. Considering the caliber of teams participating, that's a pretty impressive outcome. As for the Chinese squad, landing in the top 3 is quite an achievement as well. They haven't been playing together for long, and they still have plenty of room to grow. And finally, the legendary battle in the grand finals of the Dream League. And yeah, that's basically a joke. Because, you know, the amount of surprises we've already witnessed, the number of teams we've already written off, but in the end, it all came down to Falcons versus BetBoom. And it turned out to be pretty one-sided. On the first map, BetBoom brought in the signature Beastmaster for Miero. Aside from that, there were no particularly surprising drafts. The teams decided to settle their differences the old-fashioned way, with full-blown brawls. Skitter would sometimes be out of position, or BetBoom would get a little too bold. In short, it was an intense fight. BB Team couldn't withstand the pressure from Falcons and started to fall behind in gold, even though they secured the Aegis and made some excellent pick-offs. It mostly came down to the fact that the Dire heroes could farm much faster than their opponents. BetBoom also lost a crucial fight that could have completely turned the game around. There was also a funny moment where Nightfall managed to cast his first spell while under the effect of Doom, likely due to a spell cast delay or a bug, whatever. Valve, please fix. The final fight wasn't the most thrilling, with Nightfall getting doomed again and sent straight to the tavern without buyback. That's where the game ended for BB Team on the first map, and they called GG's. You might ask, could the second map turn out to be even more intense than the first? Yes, that's exactly what happened. Falcons once again outplayed BB Team on the lanes, which really shouldn't happen because BetBoom's playstyle is designed to win lanes and wrap up the tempo against opponents. This time, however, they managed to make a play as the underdogs, securing several smart picks and partially clawing back the comeback. That Doom remained a concern, undoubtedly set to bring the chaos to the map. And during this fight for Roshan, the predicted ensued. 3 of BetBoom's cores were killed, watching as their base fell. But luckily, Save had mined the area effectively. Those mines alone saved the Dire from the loss, and while I don't want to diminish the impact of other players, BetBoom's position 4 was the clear MVP of this map. And yeah, Malrine deserves special attention too, because he prioritized his rampage in the grand finale over the victory itself.
And he's going to go for the killing blow onto the Rubik, and he gets it. Double kill for Nightfall. But Skeeter is just doing so much damage. Holy shit. That is a dead Sven for 90 seconds. As now Skeeter should be able to finish this Rex, although that is backdoor protection. Ultra kill from Malrine. He's the one actually netting himself the kills. As GPK is going to get stunned up. The shield crashes down. Swatch is actually going to miss because of the Yules. There's another bash to come out. That's going to be the center racks now in favor of Falcons. Malrine wants this rampage. Is he going to get it? Echo Stomp is going to be missed. He's going to use roll up for some reason to get the basher up again. Swash again. It's not the rampage. It should have been a double, though. He dies to the Falcons!
Precisely because of this, the game dragged on for extra 10 minutes. By some miracle, finally they managed out to close the game on the second map. And on the third map, Malrine probably delivered the highlight of the year. Just look at it.
As far as Lina matchups go, it's one of the harder ones because she bodies a ton of them in mid. Oh, misclick from Malrine. Oh,
the tower
boy.
hits is there. Right click is going to hit. GPK getting blocked by the trees, trying to get him under the tower.
I mean, if Malrine did all those moves fully intentionally, I'd be almost certain that this person is currently the best mid laner in the world. The other players, of course, couldn't stand out in the same way. They tended more to feed on their lanes, but in the team fights they managed to make a comeback, and don't forget, Amar was playing on one of his signature heroes. You know, it's Amar's and he knows how to play it. A fantastic game. And yeah, Nightfall was making mistakes, falling for the most basic traps. I mean, I understand it, playing against the relentless Falcons is really tough. They will catch you on a mistake anywhere and they'll do something completely unconventional. And this time was no different. Malrine and his crew just executed a successful smoke into BetBoom. They lost Sven but gained even more gold and a crucial area of the map. Thanks to ingenious warding from Falcons, they took an excellent fight and forced buybacks from BetBoom. Then it was just a matter of taking Roshan and pushing the high ground. But the cunning Falcons had even a better plan in mind. They forced BetBoom to take the Aegis, and while they weren't ready for an assault, Falcons flanked them from behind. With Nightfall lacking buyback and the other Radiant heroes also at a disadvantage, the situation was dire. Did you get that joke?
Smoke, crit, will be seen. Roche is down, Nightfall gets the Aegis. Do they still want to fight? Amar looks like he does. Gets off the Shivas. GPK is there, gets rebuked. Arena number 1 into the spear, but no follow-up. Meanwhile, the wave from Nightfall, he wants to go on top of crit, but look at that cleave! Skeeter deletes TORONTOTOKYO and the Aegis in 1, 2, 3 hits, and now they get the connection again. Down goes Nightfall, no buyback. That was filth incarnate for Skeeter. As Malrine looking for some members of BetBoom on the outskirts here. GPK has to do a 180 to get that split earth off. As Miero with that blade mail has to try to survive against Skeeter. Nice disruption is going to keep him alive for the time being. LSA is there on the sideline. Amar pops the refresher. Arena number 2. GPK is going to be completely ignored as Miero gets rebuked. GPK TP out, but the lasso cancels it. And now he's surrounded. He does get the kill onto crit, as the Bloodstone doing quite a bit of work, actually. Force taps to the other side. Now Malrine, the Shiva's going to slow him down to a crawl, but it looks like he will survive the LSA on the sideline. Another Laguna, a beautiful disruption.
And well, guys, you have to agree with me on this one. To be honest, the final wasn't the most thrilling. I think it was pretty clear to everyone that Falcons were likely to take it home, but the ease and the skill with which they play continue to astonish me. I have never seen players synergize with each other as well as they do in such short time. Like, how long ago were they assembled? 2 months? 3 months? Of course, there's this current patch with many of Falcons players' heroes being in the meta, which definitely works in their favor and all that. But anyways, they just look amazing. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Falcons' dominance on the pro scene. Are they just a one-patch team like Tundra was, or are they the future TI champions? And guys, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. I'm really sorry, my guys, for sounding sick this episode, because that's the truth. I am ill and I'm trying to recover. And also, don't forget about the Patreon link in the description. Don't forget to like, don't forget to follow, and don't forget to comment with whatever you like. I always read all your comments, and that's really cool from you to say nice things. Thank you again. You have been with the best Dota 2 news channel. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.